Yes. Again, you're dealing with hybrids.
Yeah.
All right. So?
Is that like my children?
No, not in that case. You're dealing with one of the hybrids that may be involved with you in the hybridization agenda or the program that you're part of, but it might be more like someone who works with you or helps you understand how to work with it. Sort of like a guide, but of an extraterrestrial nature, of a hybrid nature. Someone you're familiar with might even be another version of you in that reality, making contact, checking in.
Cool.
Whatever temperature you want. Does that help?
Yeah.
Will that do?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I would like your assistance with the idea of parenting.
Yes. Well, we already gave some principles. Were you here for those?
Yes.
All right.
I feel very challenged with the idea of specifically what you were sharing, the idea of...
You are challenged by what? By not thinking you have the ability to create those kinds of environments for children?
No, just the consequences is confusing to me.
The consequences are confusing to you?
Yeah.
In what sense?
Well, my partner, the parent of my children...
Yes.
From my perspective, it seems like he's too rough, and the consequences that he wants to impose are very... I feel like it's too much for a child, and for me...
What age is the child?
7, 6.
And what are you describing as consequences that are too tough? Can you give an example?
Yeah. Taking something that he wants for too long without the opportunity to take it back, like a toy.
All right. But you see, the idea is, when we talk about the parent creating certain environments, the parents themselves have to be relatively clear and free of their own issues.
Right.
So that they're not imposing their own issues on the child.
Right. That's where my challenge is. I feel like I have a lot of issues.
All right. Well, you can begin to teach both of them, since it appears you have more than one child to deal with. Speaking of your husband. The idea being...
I knew.
Well, we mean this in some sense literally, because if they have issues that they are continually recreating in the present from their own belief in connection to things that happened to them in their childhood, then they haven't necessarily matured in all areas. And this is the purpose of relationships, is to help everyone in the relationship become more of who they truly are and let go of the things that no longer serve them. So, while you are being an example of creating certain kinds of environments in which you can allow children to learn the consequences of their choices in a much more constructive and safe and positive way, you can also do that with him.
Okay.
So you need to be the one that has the imagination to set this up in some way, shape, or form, in a way that might attract him, in a way that he will learn lessons from and allow himself to release those negative ideas about his own inner child.
I understand.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The other idea that I have a lot of challenge with is often my son seems to be choosing negative vibrations.
Well, again, you have to begin early to teach them the idea of the consequences of their choices. So it's not too late to start, but all you're doing is describing what would naturally happen if they haven't been taught in the way that we're talking about. So begin, and it may give the child an opportunity to change.
Okay.
Yes?
Yeah.
All right.
But
what?
I thought I was already doing that.
In what way were you doing it?
Well, I was I thought I was allowing him to follow his excitement.
Yes, but you just also
the
said...
consequence part? That's
Yes.
Okay, I understand.
And self-empowerment. And also, as you said, you are challenged with the idea that within the environment there's another child
Okay.
that is in a position of teaching them things in a way that won't necessarily allow them to become self-empowered.
Okay.
So you have to include all of that in your teaching, in your imagination, in the environments that you create. I understand. It's a very profound challenge, but we believe that you are up to the challenge. Yes? Doesn't matter if we believe it, though. You need to believe that you're up to the challenge. You need to know you have the imagination, the inspiration, the playfulness to create environments in which they can all be included. The entire family can be included to retrain and let people know there are different tools they can use than the ones they've been using. That will connect them to their self-empowerment, to their freedom to choose, to understand consequences of choices so they can make more positive choices, and to adapt the lessons to their passion. So, do you believe you have the imagination and inspiration to do this?
Yes.
Then do so.
Thank you. I would like to also ask about, a few years ago I went to Mount Shasta, and
Yes.
I described to you that there was 3 light sources. It seemed like there was 3 sunsets.
Yes.
You said at the time it wasn't appropriate to talk about it.
Yes.
Can we talk about it now?
Yes.
Well,
This is a reflection of the idea of the splitting prism. You were seeing 3 different parallel realities at once.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I had a dream about, it was like a silhouette of a boy, and instead of being a dark silhouette, it was just a sky full of stars.
Hybrid child.
I would like to know his name.
Give him a name. Most hybrid children will take names from nature. What kind of nature name or word are you attracted to?
I keep thinking Milky Way when I think about him.
All right. Is that what you would like to use as a name?
Maybe I'll think about it.
Think about it. It's all right for you to work together to choose a name from nature.
Okay.
All right?
Okay, yeah. You have shared the name Briar, and I haven't found the relationship to nature with her, and...
That's all right.
Okay. What was that name? What does that mean?
I will let you explore this more because you're in the middle of a process of dialoguing with hybrid children. You'll work it out.
Okay.
Use the same imagination you're going to use to create the environments for your Earth family, and something will come. All right?
Okay.
All right.
One more thing.
No.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hi, Bashar.
And a you good day.
I would like to ask, is Greek mythology real, and are we as humans related to the Greek gods and goddesses?
Well, yes, because the idea is that those mythological stories are, well, not necessarily literal, but are representations of the ancient Anunnaki extraterrestrials who created Homo sapiens. Therefore, you contain their genetic material.
That makes a lot of sense.
I know, that's why I said it. Does that help?
Yes, and I would also like to share, I saw extraterrestrials and a spaceship.
Yes, where, when?
I was driving home. Well, my dad was driving me home from my karate classes that I used to go to
Yes.
in Japan, and there was like a I wouldn't say a field, but an area
Yes.
in the street
Yes.
with grass and like two or three trees.
Yes. And what did these extraterrestrial beings look like?
Well, it was dark and I saw it like sort of bluish black,
You're talking about the ETs or the lighting?
the ETs.
All right. And?
And I saw a spaceship. It was like, it came down and it landed
Yes.
in the area. And
How tall were they?
about maybe 4 or 5 feet.
All right.
And I saw it like the spaceship. It sort of looked like a snowman, except with two snowballs. So like the bigger one on the bottom and then the smaller one on the top. And then I saw like stairs coming down, and then I saw like 4 or 5 extraterrestrials coming out of it.
Oh, all right. How exciting.
I just wanted to share that.
Thank you.
And also, is that a type of race that you can tell me at this moment?
Well, you're dealing with a type of gray, and you're dealing with a type of exploratory ship. It's a little unusual. It's from a slightly altered parallel reality, but the color of them was not actually their skin. The color was camouflage, so that they would be more difficult to see at night.
That's cool.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does that help?
Yes.
All right.
I love you and your people and Willa.
And we all love you as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Tadea.
Nania.
See if we can slip in a few questions here.
From your other listeners.
Yes,
All right.
but all of a sudden,
Yes. Is your technology?
it's back again.
Oh, all right. Perhaps you need more robust technology to bring into the electromagnetic field that we give off.
That's right. Are you messing with our electronics?
Messing with your heads.
Okay, so this first question is, everything exists simultaneously. This
Yes.
means that my body at 10 years old also exists right now.
Yes.
And if I'm currently focused in this right now moment,
Yes.
where I am 45,
Yes.
who is driving that vehicle, my 10-year-old body right now? Is it another soul, or is it the frame of the film strip just sitting around unused?
Nothing is unused. And it's not, in a sense, another soul, although it is. Because the idea is it's the soul that you were at 10. And therefore, you understand that you have changed everything, including your soul, to have a different perspective of yourself at the age you are now. Nothing is ever unoccupied. It's all existing simultaneously. But as you shift, everything shifts. Therefore, nothing is ever unoccupied. It's always filled with something. It's always filled with another aspect, another point of view of all that is. But you're dealing now with a different parallel reality idea of a 10-year-old. Therefore, it's not you. It's another person having their own experience, and in a sense their own soul, even though you may have temporarily connected to it and treat it as if it was yours too.
So it continues to have its own existence.
Of course it does.
Creation is incredibly complex.
Yes, richly complex.
Richly complex.
Not complicated, but
Yes.
richly complex.
Complex. Amazing. I believe you mentioned briefly that our physical bodies don't die the way we perceive them to die physically. Can you expand on that?
Talking about our bodies?
It says, no, I think she was talking about human bodies, that they die, but maybe she meant to say yours.
Read the question again.
I believe you mentioned briefly that our physical bodies don't die the way we perceive them to die physically.
I see. Well, in a sense, that is just a perception, the idea that your body dies, because your body is contained in your spirit, not the other way around. Therefore, in a sense, it's simply that it is no longer necessary to sustain it as an illusion, as a projection, as a dream, and it will sort of appear over time to disintegrate in a natural way. But that's just it being, in a sense, sort of reabsorbed into the greater being, because it's no longer a necessary projection, in the same way that a dream fades when you wake up in the morning, because it is no longer relevant for you to focus on it. So in that sense, yes, it could be a little bit different than the way you think of the body dying, since it's really just that you have removed your focus from it, and it just begins to fade. And as we have said before, this is one of the things that lets you know that physical reality isn't really real, because things dissolve, things break down, things break apart. That's what lets you know it's not permanent and therefore not real.
I know, aren't like bacteria the agents of, I guess, eliminating the illusion?
In a sense, yes. They are the little vacuum cleaners, if you want, or the little transformers that let you know that physical reality is not real. It's not a permanent structure. It's a temporary projection. So they are aspects of consciousness that go in and induce and transform that idea from what seems to be substantial to what seems to be no longer substantial.
It's quite amazing.
It is.
There have been these interactions with Navy jets recently in the mainstream media about, and when we were wondering if you could give us any information about the alien race or races that have encountered those jets.
Well, we spoke a little bit about that in a recent transmission this weekend, about the idea of them being the ones to test the waters to see how many people will talk about what they saw. I can't necessarily exactly give you a name specifically of a particular race, although it is connected to hybrids. So there are multitudes of them in different ways that are working through this program of disclosure to help the idea along by seeing how many people who have sightings are willing to talk about them.
Okay. In another direction, how do you manifest instantly?
You are always manifesting instantly. It's just that sometimes you know that you are instantly manifesting a process that seems to take time, because you need that process in order to develop a deeper experience and a deeper appreciation of what the result of that experience will be. You can always reduce the processes as much as possible through the threshold of believability test that we have often talked about. But the idea is that you're always manifesting instantaneously. It may not always be what you want, but the idea is that you are always manifesting exactly what you need at that moment. And by staying in a state where you know that, you'll get the most out of it and allow yourself to use up what's happening in the present, thus making room for something else to come in more quickly. If you deny what's happening as being an instant manifestation that you need, then you make it stick around and fill up the space into which other manifestations could occur. So the more you use it up, the faster you use it up, the more other manifestations can result in that same space, because there is only one place for them to manifest, and that's here and now.
I was also thinking, too, that there's a fun exercise you can do, because this person wanted to manifest things like a crystal or a flower essence or things like that.
Yes.
And those are games you can play with your higher mind and with synchronicity, just simply by opening yourself to the idea of saying, okay, I want to find this.
However, there is actually an easier way that goes back to what we have said many times. Take the path of least resistance. Obviously, synchronicity in delivering information to you will usually use what's already in your reality without having to invent something new. So if you really, really want to understand something like that, just to use those examples,
okay,
then the idea is go to the store that carries them and buy one, because they are already available in your reality. So the idea is someone can sometimes be trying too hard to be spiritually manifesting in a way that they think is better than physical reality, when in fact it might just be as spiritual as anything to go to the store where you know the crystals are sold.
Okay.
The
And
path of least resistance.
Okay, so maybe I'm going in a different direction than when I say this. It's about heightening communication with your higher mind by saying, let's play a game. I'm open to something appearing in my reality that approximates something I'm excited about receiving, something beautiful, just something.
Yes.
And then allow the synchronicity to guide you to the experience that's being provided for
you can play that game, but what I'm saying is the idea of information acts like electricity. And if you already know where the answer is, the idea is that that's the shortest path the electricity will take. So sometimes the fact that you already know where crystals are that you could access will take precedence over the idea of going in a more roundabout way, because the information is already right there, close at hand, and the path may not necessarily be as strong going another way, unless there is a specific purpose in doing it that way, like you said. You're playing a game for a specific reason that may actually have nothing at all really to do with the idea of accessing a crystal, and everything to do with actually practicing that path, and therefore the crystal at the end of it isn't really even important. But if it's really about the crystal, then take the path of least resistance, which is to use the knowledge already at hand that such a thing exists close by.
I see the distinction.
Yes,
That's good.
It's similar to the idea of people who ask psychics such questions as, well, how much change do I have in my pocket? Why do I need to exercise the energy of tapping into another dimension and peering into your pocket when all you need to do is reach into your pocket and count the change? It's shorter, and therefore that short circuits the psychic's ability or need to go another route, because there is no need to go another route to answer that question. It's right there. That's the point. Yes?
Are there any harmful insects on Essassani?
No, everything is symbiotic.
And if people on Earth harmonize more with nature, can our relationship with our insects change?
Yes, of course. Do you not have the parables of the lion and the lamb laying down together in peace? That is a euphemism for the idea of life becoming more symbiotic instead of predatory. One of the main reasons why it's still a reflection of predation is because you are still a reflection of predation in your society. You prey on each other. So why shouldn't they?
Yeah, it's interesting. There's different levels of physical reality where it turns into less and less predation. So is some of the extinction phenomenon we're going through right now, and our relationship with our animals changing in that direct? That's a positive idea.
You are seeing more and more of that as you record such things as different species of animals becoming friends.
Yeah, and definitely it looks a much different time now in terms of this. And then animals having communication with humans in zoos and things like this, they broaden their brains also into whole new areas of behavior.
Although again, more efficient if they were still in nature.
Yes, of course. That would always be the preference. We were wondering also why, this is a question that came, in terms of people not being able to stand up to, in a sense, the energy that they would encounter if they met you face to face or your craft.
Yes.
But there are other species that it might be tolerable to encounter.
That's what we said. We're only referring to us and species like us. But there are many other aliens you could encounter with no problem.
And is that because their vibration is, what would be the distinction?
It's more vibrationally compatible with yours in certain ways, and there may be purpose for the meeting that supersedes the difference in frequency. But we have a specific purpose and relationship to you in terms of what we're sharing with you. And we come from a parallel reality that is very different than yours. Therefore, this is simply the nature of what's going on between us and our relationship. But there are other relationships with other extraterrestrials that have different purposes, and therefore different reasons for interacting with them that can be something that is allowable.
Is that also because it would be the sense of like taking truth serum or something like that, that all of the charades that we play out in our minds would disappear in the energy field?
It would break down any compartmentalization that you're holding on to with any fear-based or negative beliefs on any subject whatsoever, and break down the barriers between them and force them to the surface, which can cause psychotic shock if you're not ready to integrate them.
And the idea that the personality dissolves also in the presence of that energy.
The structure of the personality that you may have been presenting dissolves. The personality doesn't completely dissolve, but it becomes more transparent. It becomes more a natural representation of the higher mind in physical terms.
So really the essence of contact with extraterrestrial beings that are of higher vibrational nature really involves interdimensional adjustment
Yes.
of your psyche to
Yes.
be able to have that communication in a positive way,
Yes.
as opposed to thinking that a spaceship is going to land on the
In a
White
sense,
House lawn.
there are many, many beings. Well, let me put it this way. Even if you think we look something like you, we in many ways are nothing like you. And the idea, even though right now we're not technically alien, but we are extraterrestrial because we do share genetic material, we are in a sense like a different type of human, nevertheless, the energy of our being is extremely alien to many of you because of the level that we operate on, because of the dimension we inhabit, because of our evolutionary place and the way we experience reality. The combined energy of our frequency is very alien to many of you. And the idea is, think of the most alien kind of encounter, the most unusual, strangest, most different kind of encounter you could have with some form of life on your planet. We would be far more alien than that. Far more alien than that. And again, there is an instinct within most of you that when it encounters something so alien, so different, it reacts in a survival mechanism that translates into a phobia. Because you're seeing it as something that doesn't belong in your reality, that's simply too foreign, too alien for your mind to grasp the totality of, but it senses what it does sense as something that shouldn't be there. It's not normally part of your reality. Therefore, it starts breaking your reality apart. Yes?
Wow. But you seem so much like us.
For the piece of me that you're seeing in the simulacrum that's created to act as a buffering mechanism between us, yes, of course. It's designed to seem more like you. I am very different than you think.
Well, you're always full of surprises, so.
Yes. And so, surprise, surprise, it is time for your short break, and then we will resume this transmission with your holotope meditation. So enjoy a short break. All right, I'll say let us continue this transmission by asking each and every one of you to please allow yourselves to become very relaxed in your chairs. Breathe deeply and easily. Just let go of the thoughts of the day and focus your attention on the holotope before you. Allow yourselves to continue to breathe easily and gently, and continue to allow your body to relax. As your lights begin to play along with your music, just let yourself begin to drift and dream into this new bubble reality that we are co-creating here together today. Allow yourselves to take a moment to adjust to the new frequency of this reality. Allow it to become the vibration that you recognize, a familiar vibration of the choices you have made to be here now. In this theme, on this path, to exercise the freedom to choose your free will, synonymous with the will of God. For there is no separation on that level. You are unique. And therefore, if there is any will of God contained within that fact, it is only the will that you be yourself. And the question simply comes down to, will you be who you are in truth? Will you allow yourself to expand? Will you explore the beliefs that hold you back, that are out of alignment with who you are? Will you walk the path that you are with clarity, with joy, with passion? Will you? They say on your world, where there's a will, there's a way. But you are the way. Allow yourself the freedom to use your free will. Be the path you are in the way that works best for you, knowing that that is, again, synonymous with the will of God, Goddess, all that is. There is no need for any idea of the exertion of any outside will or intention to be put upon you, for there is no outside. There is only here, there is only now. So once again, the question is, will you be who you choose to know you are in truth? Will you walk the path you are in joy? Will you allow yourself, give yourself permission to choose those things you know are the true expression of you? Will you? Is the question. And the answer is you will. Because you know there is more to you than just this world, more to you than just this dream. You are bigger than this. You are powerful beings, reflections in spirit of all that is. You chose to have this adventure. You chose to impose this narrow vision in order to explore more deeply aspects of your existence through mystery and unfoldment, to discover new ideas and new perspectives of who you truly are on more levels than this, to open to the great mystery of your being, to be drawn with curiosity into that mystery, into the unknown, so that you may know yourself more fully. For that is the paradox of the unknown, that you will only discover more of yourself within it. And with everything you discover, when you are willing to enter the unknown, you will realize that whatever comes from the unknown will come with everything you need to work with it, and to discover from it another aspect of your being, another perspective, another level of awareness of who and what you truly are. Breathe in that truth. Breathe in your power. Awaken, aware, conscious, knowing, acting, being. Allow yourselves to breathe deeply, resonantly, and feel the beating of your hearts. As with every beat, it beats out the true nature of your being. An expansive spirit calling out, immersed in a sea of energy, in a sea of thought, in a sea of consciousness. Reaching out beyond the stars to the infinite. And receiving back the infinite echo of confirmation. Yes, you are my will. Because I am you, and you are me, and you are all that is. Thus it is your will. That is God's will. For they are one and the same. For all that is all that is everything, everywhere, every when. There is nothing outside, nothing truly separate. Drift on this journey, travel on this path, the path that you are. The path of realization and awakening and awareness. The path of consciousness and clarity. Will you or won't you? Will you or won't you? Will you or won't you? Give voice and action to your truth. To be a living example to all of other choices they may make for themselves as well. In the enjoyment of companionship, of friendship, of family, of connection to Source, as Source. The reflection back and forth. I am you and you are me. My will is your will is my will. Will you or won't you? Where there's a will, you are the way. Will you or won't you? Chart a course on the map of your being. On the map of your mind, and the map of your heart, the map of your soul and spirit. Chart a course that is true. Follow the compass needle to your true north, to your magnetic north. Feel the pull, feel the tug, feel the urge to be all that you are. Feel the calling, feel the invitation, and feel the connection. The real connection. For you are Source. You are all that is. And it is you. Reflective, self-aware intelligence permeates every cell, every atom, every particle of your being. Every resonance, every vibration is communication and knowledge that you can act upon to great joy and great benefit of all. Be yourself. Be the path. Be the light. Be the love. Be the blessing. Be in grace. Be in gratitude. Be in appreciation. Will you or won't you? Will you or won't you? Will you or won't you? And in your heart beats the answer, I will. I will. I will. And then as soon as you allow yourself to know that you will, then instantly and immediately and perfectly and precisely, you also know, I am. I am. I am. I am the will and the way, and this is your truth. You are the will and the way, and this is your truth. Allow yourselves to breathe deeply and gently and absorb this truth in the way that works for you as your own. Through your heart, your mind, your soul, your spirit, and the higher mind and spirit guides, and all the beings that guide and love and watch and share. One family, one will in many, many wills in one. Infinite, eternal, and indestructible. Allow yourselves to breathe and know that you are unconditionally supported and loved and immersed within all that is. Continue to breathe as you allow your lights to dim and your music to soften, yet it will never fade from within you, for it is crystallized within your consciousness with every breath and every beat of your heart. Where there is a will, you are the way. Continue to drift and dream in peace and joy and contentment, in grace and gratitude. Good day.
Hello, Bashar. This is Shama from Italy.
All right. Good day.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you.
It is our passion and our pleasure.
I am aware that during the night, during my sleep, I have a very rich dream life, and I do inner work, profound inner work, but in the morning, I'm not remembering those dreams. I want to know if the work that we do in sleep is still valid and effective, even if it's forgotten by the morning.
Yes, and in many cases it is supposed to be forgotten by the morning because you've done the work. Move on. Follow your passion. Apply the energy. It's still there. The knowledge is there, but you have to move forward and act on things that are representative of your passion to see the result of the work that you are doing in dream time. It's not about remembering it, it's about applying it. And that application will make itself evident when you take action in the direction of your passion.
Thank you.
Yes.
I live in a community, and for me, it's a wonderful process of accelerating my spiritual evolution through the constant reflection that others are for me.
Yes.
We have many rituals. We have celebrations, equinoxes, solstices, Day of the Dead, etc. And I'm asking you, in a society, have you already gone beyond living in communities, or is it still a valid way to grow?
Understand, again, like anything, it's a permission slip that works for you, so fine for you to use it. From our perspective, on our world, the entire planet is a community. Remember, we're all telepathically connected. We're never out of touch. Yes, there can be smaller units, smaller community units that may coalesce synchronistically for a certain purpose, such as our birthing villages that happen on certain regular timings, where many different births happen simultaneously, and then it is disbanded when those births occur. So the idea is that there are many different things that may allow members of our community to come together for a specific purpose and work together with common interests. But again, it's a fluid thing and a fluctuating thing. Not all of them last for any length of time necessarily. But again, the one that does last is the fact that the community is the planet. The planet is the community. Our entire society is one community.
And do you have rituals and celebration, or those things are obsolete?
We don't really have rituals per se. We do celebrate sometimes, but in a different way than you usually do. Nevertheless, again, remember, we are operating on pure synchronism. When people come together for the purpose of a celebration, it is automatic. And again, it lasts as long as it needs to and then disbands. But again, we don't really have rituals per se, although some individual members may choose to go through certain practices more than once, depending upon what it is they are attempting to do. But we don't consider them to be ritualistic in the same way that you do.
Thank you. One last question. We understand that most of, if not all of the ancient gods and goddesses that came to Earth were extraterrestrial, that came with their own agenda and were seen as God and goddesses by the earthlings of those times. Those ancient gods and goddesses, have they continued to relate to Earth and to be involved with Earth somehow, even though have been forgotten? And is it possible that they are even now preparing for contact with us again, of returning and reconnecting with us? And is it possible that the likes of Horus or Isis or Hathor and Quetzalcoatl are coming back to reconnect with Earthlings?
Some of them, yes. Many of them have moved on. Some of the energy has turned into archetypal versions of your collective consciousness, so you can still relate to them in whatever way you wish to, whether they come back physically or not. So there are many levels, interdimensional levels to this relationship, but some of them may return, some of them have moved on.
Thank you so much. I love you, Bashar.
Our unconditional love to you, Aveo.
Hello, Bashar. This is Carol from Hong Kong. I would like to ask about feeling guilty over someone or an animal's death because of the things that we did or we failed to do. Is there a way to ever overcome this kind of guilt? Because it really stops me from celebrating life and all the good memories that we used to have. Thank you. Bye-bye.
The question would be, did you do it intentionally? Did you learn anything from it? Will you do better next time? The animal already forgives you. So let it go and connect with the animal in spirit in a loving way. Get into the vibration of love and the connection that you may have with the animal, even after death. But if you've learned a lesson from it and will change your behavior to do things differently in your relationship with animals on the planet, then learn the lesson, apply the lesson, and move forward. Remaining in guilt allows you to only perpetuate the negativity that may have occurred in the relationship and doesn't allow you to move forward. The animal wants you to move forward. So by all means, respect the animal's wishes for you by having gone on into the spirit level to lure you after it, to make that connection with you so that you can move on and move forward in a more loving way, in a more solid and harmonious relationship with all life on the planet.
Bashar, thank you so much for your work as a first contact specialist, first, let me say.
It is our passion and our pleasure.
Excellent. My first question is regarding the crystal vortex in Arkansas in the Ozark Mountain area. Can you expand a little bit on the Sasquatch connections in that area?
One moment. That particular vortex has a link interdimensionally, one of them anyway, to the place, the dimension that the Sasquatch often go to remove themselves from your reality. One moment. One moment. One moment. The Ozark area is particularly strong as an interdimensional connection to a few very specific kinds of alternate or parallel realities that the Sasquatch take advantage of to remove themselves from what you consider to be your typical reality. There are sort of a network of tunnels in space-time there that can be traversed by those who know how to do so. There are many comings and goings interdimensionally in that area. Sort of very much like a Swiss cheese vortex, so to speak. Does that help?
Yes, absolutely. Is there a particular hotspot where if I wanted to go and try to connect with them that I could maybe meditate in, or a particular Sasquatch name I could meditate on?
You could call Tsemiquest. Can you repeat that?
Tsemiquest.
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 Yes, Tsemiquest, sorry.
Yes, Tsemiquest.
Yes.
You can use your own instincts to pick the spot, but it should be a spot that is mountainous and forested. Do you have access to something like that?
Yes, yes.
So do you have yourself a favorite spot that is mountainous and forested?
There are a few.
Do you have one that stands out?
Yes, Mount Nebo.
All right. Go and in a meditative state, allow yourself to open up to the vibration of Tsemiquest and see what happens.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome.
I have just a few more questions. I have a large birthmark on the outside of my right wrist that to me it resembles a spaceship. Is that just a mere coincidence, or is it there to remind me, or is it a symbol of certain ET connections that I have?
You have asked the question and answered it yourself.
Excellent. That's what I thought. It's just good to have that validation sometimes. Does somebody with amalgam or mercury fillings in their teeth, having that in the body, does that create disruptions in somebody's ability to be able to make other dimensional connections?
It depends upon your belief system.
Okay. You've said before that it's not time to reveal any further information about Rh negative blood type. So I was just curious if it was time for a little bit more.
No.
Okay, fair enough. One final question. So I've been experimenting a little bit with tones in the ears and vibrations on a vibration plate, and just trying to sort of sync those up for let's say if I do 40 hertz in the ears, I know that sort of helps with the neurological system. And the vibrating plate maybe is also vibrating at 40 hertz. Having those two together, does that amplify and accelerate the effects?
It can, and 40 hertz, remember, is the threshold, the first threshold level neurologically in the brain that represents the gamma frequency, which is the channeling frequency.
Okay. Okay, that was my last question. Ha'atu, Bashar.
And to you, good day, Aveo.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Cheryl. I'm from Toronto, and I would like to ask Bashar his insights on ableism and discrimination of the disabled. While society is going in the direction of inclusion of all minorities, the disabled are still left behind and in fact very rarely mentioned. If you could also address the hatred of disabled by many and society seeing them of no value. Many people get profoundly upset when they have to do something different for a disabled person. I see a future where everybody is included and nobody is other. Their differences will be celebrated and nurtured. But I feel and see disabled are still being left behind, and I'm having trouble with ableism, discrimination, and the outright hatred by some. Thank you. I have aphasia from stroke. I did pretty good. Thank you.
Well, first we would change the definition that many people are starting to use on your planet. Instead of disabled, differently abled. Many people will make choices from spirit to come through in a way and have an experience that creates them to be differently abled. Now, many people express the idea of hatred for this or discomfort from this because they are afraid, because it represents an idea to them of what might happen to them, and they do not wish to experience those things that they see other people experiencing. Other people who are strong enough and brave enough to limit themselves in certain ways for the purpose of finding other ways of doing things, other ways to move forward, creative, imaginative ways of being differently abled. This again expands the human experience and allows humans to see that there are many different ways to accomplish things, and that no one needs to be afraid that it's going to happen to them. But even if it does, they still then will have made the choice and an agreement on a certain level to express to the rest of humanity that you have a great potential to do things beyond the normal, beyond the typical, and that sometimes being differently abled brings this out in force, makes it very obvious when people have the creativity and imagination to overcome what appears to be a disability and truly express it as a different ability, something to explore for all humanity. It is of great service to everyone if they will take it for the lesson that it is.
Hello, Bashar.
Good day to you.
Hi. I had a question about miracles on the website. There's a quote from you that said, miracles are not the exception to the rule. They are the natural order of things. Could you give more of a definition or understanding of that, please?
Well, the idea is that in your society, typically, people look at what they call a miracle as being an unusual phenomenon, something unexpected, unusual, very rare. And it is a coming together of certain ideas, experiences, influences, appearances, objects, so on and so forth, that seem to be out of the norm, seem to be beyond what you consider your typical reality to be capable of producing. But the idea is that you're creating your reality every single moment anyway. You are creating miracles all the time just by having a physical reality experience all the time, constantly, as a continuous experience. So the idea is the same, shall we say, mechanism used to create any reality experience that you are having is the same mechanism used to create what you typically refer to as miracles. It's just that for some reason at that moment, synchronistically, your mind and consciousness is open to the fact that that is being created through alignment, through synchronicity, as a relevant experience that stands out because of the meaning you have infused in it and the reflection it provides for you in a certain direction. But if you start to understand that you're doing this all the time, start to see everything as synchronicity, then you will start to see physical reality as miraculous as it actually is every single moment. Does that help?
Yes, thank you. The Holy Spirit, the Catholics, I'm a Catholic, think of the Holy Spirit as kind of the voice between us and God. Is that what you would call the higher consciousness?
In a sense, yes, although the idea that you give to the concept of the Holy Spirit can also be spirit guides, can also be aspects of all that is. It can act as a conduit no matter what form it takes. It is generally representative of the conduit of connection and communication to all that is. But it can take many forms.
Why is our society, why is guilt and shame so much a part of our society?
Because you have created a sense and an experience of disconnection from all that is. You have created a sense of disconnection from your self-worth and your self-empowerment. Therefore, what comes with that experience of disconnection, not that you're actually disconnected, because that's not possible, but what comes with the experience of disconnection is the shame that goes with the idea of not belonging, not being connected anymore, considering yourself to be less than and unworthy. And that is simply the side effects that happen from that negative state of being. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes. Are there any writings that are available that would better reflect the teachings of Jesus?
Yes, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Bashar. I appreciate it.
You are very welcome. Aveo.
Aveo.
What makes us special as human race compared to other members of Interstellar Alliance? Why did you decide to pick us specifically to be a member of the Interstellar Alliance? And at what point in our history and why was that decided?
You are our ancestors. We are literally genetically connected to you. We are family. The idea of the demarcation line was when the hybridization agenda began, about 6,000 years ago in your terms of understanding. So the idea is that we are connected. We are family. That's the difference, specifically. The story involves humans and hybrids and the evolution of the human race.
So are most of the beings in the Interstellar Alliance humanoid in the sense of five? No.
No. The majority are not in any way, shape, or form. But there are those that are relations, that are cousins, that are similar in terms of their evolutionary path. But no, the vast majority have nothing to do with looking like a human.
So it would be like octopi and other creatures that have sentient intelligence beyond ours, or?
Yes, and some that you can't even imagine because there is absolutely no analogy or correlation to the beings on your planet.
So how did all of these beings come together, and this, what would you say is the level of consciousness of the beings that are part of this alliance?
Those that understand and act upon the idea of whole systems.
So can you give us an example of a species we're not aware of that would look nothing like a human?
Well, we've told you about several of them. We told you about the ones that exist almost like spheres that roll around on the inside of a bubble in liquid space. We've told you about that. That's nothing like a human. Yes?
Yes.
We will go into different varieties of extraterrestrials that are non-human at another time in another transmission.
It almost seems like there's some sort of an organizing body that would then create the ability for all these different types of beings to be able to connect in.
As we have told you in the formula, the natural result of following it and understanding whole systems is the organizing principle of synchronicity. Therefore, synchronicity is the organizing mechanism that brings all of these beings together.
Absolutely fascinating. So our little corner of the reality where we have humanoid types that we're interacting with essentially as our first contact experiences.
Yes. Will make it a smoother transition for many of you because it's something relatively familiar.
And is that by a grand plan, or is that something that the Alliance orchestrates for that very specific reason?
It is synchronicity and also amplified and magnified by the Alliance.
So something happens when all these consciousnesses join together and form this alliance?
Oh, yes. We'll go into that at another time as well.
Oh, that's pretty exciting. Okay, so
as you move more deeply into the idea of membership in the Alliance, there will be many things to explain and describe to you that will go beyond what you typically think of as interactions with extraterrestrial beings. We will give you a fuller picture of what it means to be a member of the Alliance. This will happen sometime in the window of open contact, which begins next year of your time in 2023.
At what age did you first learn about Earth? Was the Earth you encountered in our timeline or in your timeline? And these are multiple questions here. And do the Earths from different timelines actually message one another? And if so, how do they do it?
In your terms of understanding, I was about, well, somewhere between 5 and 7, because our year is not the same as your year, in which I was trained by my father as a contact specialist and began to be told about the idea of your timeline of Earth. There are other timelines of Earth, of course, that have hybridization agendas, and other versions, to put it linearly, of myself and others that interact with them. Communication between various Earths sometimes happen between or through the devices of first contact specialists that might be able and capable of projecting their consciousness into parallel realities, but some versions of Earth actually have the wherewithal, either biologically or technologically, of communicating with other parallel versions of Earth and downloading information and sharing information between them. In the same way you might have diplomatic relations with another country, there are versions of Earth that have diplomatic relations of other versions of Earth in parallel realities.
Okay, thank you. Would you say that humans have the widest range of emotions out of all the species you've encountered? And what's the purpose of all these different emotions?
No, it is not the widest range that we have encountered. There are some species that have many different kinds of emotions that are not even possible for you to have in your biology. Secondly, as we have said, emotions usually are that which is used by belief systems as a reinforcing factor along with thoughts and behaviors to make the belief system seem real, to seem factual, by making you feel that they're real. So emotions are usually utilized, though there are some exceptions, by belief systems to make them seem more solid, more factual, more real, so that you can continue to have a physical experience. It's a reinforcing mechanism used by belief systems. Remember that if you didn't feel that your beliefs were real, you would really not have a deeper understanding or experience of physical reality. It would be kind of like looking at a two-dimensional image.
So, for example, when we start creating androids that are more and more human-like, will they actually start to experience emotions like we do?
Of a type, yes. They may not necessarily always be emotions like you understand or experience them, but yes, they will experience the idea of emotions to a certain degree, but some of them may be experienced in a very different way.
It almost sounds like they would have the ability to separate from emotions more easily than humans.
It depends on their programming and their purpose for being.
I guess we can explore that later, but I could just see where different types of negative behaviors that humans express, would those be programmed into androids also?
As we have said, the challenge for humans with regard to artificial intelligence is not so much the idea of allowing them to become intelligent, but not allowing them to become intelligent enough. True intelligence understands whole systems and would never negate a part of that system in any way, shape, or form. So only by making androids too similar to humans will you encounter some of the fear-based scenarios that you might expect. But when allowed to be fully intelligent, those scenarios simply don't exist in an understanding of whole systems.
How much time would you say is it going to take before androids become a much more common part of our society, where they actually look like humans and do functions maybe like slavery in a sense, because they're able to do these things for us and we no longer would have to?
It doesn't have to be formatted like slavery. They can be given freedom of choice, because again, remember, that question only comes from a lack of understanding of what true intelligence is all about. Again, when something understands whole systems, it is in their nature to be of service to those systems, not as a slave, but as a freely given service, because it understands that it's enhancing itself while it's enhancing the whole system. In about 20 years, give or take.
Wow. It's pretty fascinating. This person is saying that many years ago they saw a fairy who sprinkled golden fairy dust on their head. She was transparent and she could see her body and wings, and they were red and green. What can you tell us about that encounter?
Well, again, an encounter with an elemental made out of the collective clay of consciousness of your world that can shift into physical and non-physical reality at will, by choice. The idea of the so-called fairy dust is an elemental form of understanding the basic building blocks of physical reality expressed in energy forms. Some might say they might be representative of monatomic elements, but they are really a transitional form of energy between physical and non-physicality. Sort of a materialization of energy motes, energy atoms, if you want to use that term. The raw material out of which an elemental can physicalize itself. So you're being gifted with the material that the elemental is using to create its very body. Sort of an expression of giving of itself, sharing of itself, giving you the fairy dust, so to speak.
Love it. Sounds like Peter Pan.
Yes, we understand the analogy, but it's not so much about Peter Pan as it is about Tinkerbell.
Tinkerbell. This person wants to know about fighting illness, that the warlike victim perpetrator mentality is something that human beings are exploring. And even in our own bodies, we have special cells that fight off invaders. Can you give us a more positive way to look at what is happening as we go through an illness other than fighting it off?
Yes, if you actually pay attention to the mechanisms inside your body, you will understand that your body doesn't fight off invaders. It incorporates them and absorbs them and transforms them. It allows them to pass on, so to speak, to a different state that is no longer harmful to the body. So you need a deeper understanding of the mechanisms that are actually going on in your body so that you don't look at it as a war or a fighting situation, because that's not what's happening. It's a vibrational shift to a different state of being. It's not a fight. And so therefore, with regard to illness, more acceptance of why the illness is there will allow it to transform more quickly by understanding the lessons that it is there to teach you based on your belief systems.
So some people have dreams where they're communicating with the illness and it's fraught with tension and desperation to survive. type thing. And then others have sort of a loving communication with another consciousness.
Yes, there you go. The different ways you can relate to the idea of the consciousness of the illness itself and the purpose that it may serve to teach you more about your belief systems and who you really are and what you're capable of doing. So it's not about fighting. It's about relating. It's about communication. It's about understanding and letting it pass on into a different state once you have learned the lesson, once you have absorbed the meaning.
So from the standpoint of resonance, many people might be frightened by the idea of resonating with the consciousness of an illness that they are, in a sense, attempting to surmount.
Yes.
And that would be one of the first steps of allowing yourself to have communication with it and asking it what it is attempting to show you.
Just like an emotion, like fear. You make it your friend. You listen to the message that it's there to tell you, because fear is telling you that your energy is out of alignment because you're filtering it through a negative fear-based vibration or belief system. Similarly, that's in a sense what an illness is a physicalized version of fear, telling you that something's out of whack, something's out of alignment, whether it be your energy or your beliefs or something else. Pay attention to it. It's there to actually help you transform yourself in a variety of ways. It's only in the resistance and the fighting of it that it lasts longer.
So much communication is available to us from so many different sources. It's really quite amazing.
And as we have shared with you many times, communication is one of the forms of abundance. So express your abundance through communication because it will give you new ideas, new perspectives. It will allow others to join you in new ways that you may not have thought as possible, to communicate your true self and engage others, including the idea of other levels of consciousness, in a new kind of a relationship that can allow you to transform in the direction you prefer, much more quickly.
And can you touch on ways that we can balance the chakras or energy centers of the body?
Follow the formula for now. Let's keep it simple.
Okay.
Of course, attract yourself to whatever permission slip you feel will work for you. But let's bring it down to its simplest form. Follow the formula, and you will be in balance.
And this person is talking about the space between emotions. Can you speak on the space between emotions, thought, and behavior as builders of our reality based on beliefs in our body and DNA that we carry these stories from our ancestors?
Well, again, you're creating that in the present. Remember, it doesn't really come from the ancestors. You're creating a story in the present about the ancestors and just using it to make a relational idea. But the space between the emotions and the idea of your beliefs and actions and so on and so forth, this is what we refer to many times as the template level reality in non-physical reality that sort of sets the stage for what you will experience in physical terms. So it's the template level reality that is the space between the emotions that's being referred to.
And so when we shift from anger into neutrality, you've created a space between emotions right there, right?
You have altered the template level reality. Yes.
See. And
as above, so below. The as above is the template. The so below is the manifestation of the template. Change the above, the below has to change. That's the space between.
Interesting. You've mentioned that multiple personalities are not what we think. Can you explain what that's all about and if there's such a thing as possession? And can people be possessed by demons? And how does this all relate to the idea of channeling?
There is no such thing as possession in the classical sense. Again, you may match and align with a frequency of something negative and take on the qualities for yourself, but in a sense, all you are doing is possessing yourself in a different way. You're expressing yourself by matching a frequency that is out of alignment with who you truly are. That's what you typically refer to as possession. So the idea is letting go of that, changing your belief system, knowing that it's you that's choosing this and doing this to yourself, is what allows you to be dispossessed, so to speak. The idea is that multiple personalities often are representative of connecting to different aspects of your own personality. The idea of disorder comes from certain negative and fear-based beliefs, but you can have multiple personality order as well, which brings us to the idea of channeling. Because all you're doing is allowing different aspects of your own personality to align with either higher levels of your own consciousness or other consciousnesses, and giving a representative of those consciousnesses having the same thoughts at the same time. So again, it's all about resonance, it's all about alignment, it's all about choice, but you are inviolate. You are your own being. Nothing can enter you or possess you in that sense. There is no room in you for anything but you. Nothing can enter. But you can align with other things and express versions of those things through your own energy in any way, shape, or form that you so desire, or choose to, or think you have to. You are connecting sometimes to parallel versions of yourself in terms of the expressions of multiple personalities. And again, in the future, there will be parallel reality psychology that will understand this and start to connect people to different parallel versions of themselves in other versions of Earth, and understand how to coordinate those versions in a way that makes sense in your version.
Amazing. Amazing. It always comes down to that idea of resonance and what you choose to resonate with.
That's
and
all
then
it
you
is.
become that representation.
Yes.
The more highly focused you are in that direction.
You are all tuning forks. That's what you are. You vibrate in accordance to what you believe you need to vibrate in accordance to, and that will be the expression you give off. It's all about you. It's all about your power to choose. And it's all about resonating and aligning with a frequency that you deem for some reason is important for you to align with, positively or negatively.
And can individuals, in a sense, be entrained to suffer as a physical being, and so the connections that they make continue to generate that state of being?
Of course. It's all about your training. It's all about what you've been taught to buy into as necessary for you, or it's part of your themes to transform it.
So you have to recognize that if you're experiencing suffering, the reason it's there is to give you an opportunity to transform it.
Yes, of course.
So we've had some questions about UFOs having to do with Ukraine.
Yes.
And the National Academy of Sciences in Ukraine says the skies over Kiev are swimming with UFOs.
Yes.
And they use some sort of special calibrated cameras, and they can see lots of objects that are not identified. Can you confirm that UFOs or UAPs are monitoring the situation in Kiev?
Absolutely. In a sense, if you want, it's where the action is on your planet right now, at least one of the spots. And therefore, it's a good barometer for where the choices are that are being made, what direction they're going in, and which version of Earth will become the versions, or of Earth, versions plural, of Earth, will become those that are open to open contact. So again, we monitor all these kinds of things to determine which version is more likely than other versions to become the versions that we will make contact with. And also to see exactly what it is you're choosing to experience and what kind of transformations you will create on your world.
Is there a frequency range that would be most applicable to contact? In other words, does a human being need to be at a certain frequency in order to experience ET contact?
For the moment of contact, yes, they don't always have to be at that frequency, and many people are not. Some people, again, remember, you're all very compartmentalized in your consciousness, and certain compartments in your consciousness don't have to be anywhere near the frequency of contact, but sometimes other compartments can be. So it may seem to be quite a dichotomy, and you say, well, how can that person, they don't seem to be very spiritual, all of a sudden have contact with an extraterrestrial being? It's because the compartment that contains the frequency that has nothing to do with the theme they're exploring can suddenly jump to a level where they can have that contact. But what they do with it will be determined by usually the rest of the compartments in their belief systems.
And so is there a frequency range that you would described would be most applicable to having contact?
Well, gamma and higher.
It's gamma.
Yes, 40 cycles to 100 cycles per second in the brain, which again is automatic when you follow the formula. Therefore, we're giving you something that makes it more likely and more probable that you will have contact if you stay there.
So if most of humanity is focused somewhere between 40,000 and 80,000 cycles per second,
yes,
and there's really a wide range of beings that can have contact with other dimensions.
Well, yes, and I didn't say that everyone on Earth would have contact.
Right. But it's just kind of understanding that the frequency range that you have to be at, so to speak, in order to experience contact is really nothing like 333,000.
Oh, no, not at all. And again, remember, not every type of extra-dimensional being requires a high frequency, because some of them themselves are not necessarily that high. That's why people can interact with the Greys, because they're just other versions of mutated humans.
What frequency range do the Greys express?
No, somewhere around the 50,000 cycle idea, generally. So many humans can experience them because they're just other versions of you.
And the human being that really has incorporated your ideas and has that positive, interactive attitude and energy, what frequency range does that generally represent on a day-to-day basis kind of thing?
At least 80,000. At least. Generally, more above 100.
So, because I know that the channel can express a lot of positive energy and that he's done really well with the formula in understanding how to express it. So what kind of frequency range is he experiencing now that he's able to do that?
Typically about 150,000 cycles per second on average. He will have peaks and valleys, but on average about 150,000 to 175,000 cycles per second. When he's in the true creative mode, it can spike above 200.
It's really inspiring.
Yes.
See if there's anything else I can ask you now that we're pretty much out of time.
You can ask us if it's time for people to go into their meditation.
Yes, right. So, yes, if there's anything else that you'd like to share before we go forward.
It is important to go forward. So we would encourage all of you to start to resonate with your meditation. So get relaxed and go forth.
Thank you, Bashar.
You are welcome. Aveo.
Aveo.
And now enjoy your meditation.